Hello, for more some contains invest. We talk about investing, finance, and professional development. For today's items only, the investment gonna talk today will be Ethereum TKTH. First, I want to say happy Thursday, everybody. Have a great week so far. We're almost to the weekend. Respect to recording time of 9:12 a.m. on the Eastern Time. Ethereum current trading $4,169, up about 6.31% so far. Respect to overall crypto market besides Shiba Inu, we seems like it's normalizing a bit from the astronomical surge that we've been seeing the last 2 days so far. I would say collectively for the last 2 weeks so far, with the subsequent days of surge, with yesterday specifically up close to about 70% at one point, which is just astounding to see. There are a lot of millionaire and billionaires being made yesterday, so congrats to all the people that have been holding Shiba or have invested into this euphoria, if you may. In respect to the overall crypto market, besides Shiba Inu, which is just I think is doing the right thing, normalizing, the overall crypto market is surging today with respect to Bitcoin, leading as a dragging effort, right? Currently up about 4.63%, cultivated by a lot of positive news that we will dive into in a bit. And Ethereum is currently up about 6.31%, while Dogecoin is up about 31.33% right now, which is another astronomical day that we're seeing related to the dogs family, if you may, or the Shiba Inu family, which I have one myself in my family. His name is Finnegan, but he's an actual dog, not a coin. But he looks very much like the Dogecoin, picture that you see. So people, get mistaken Finn for being a real life Dogecoin, if you may. So I mean, he looks very much alike like the picture, so I get it. But he's also, just really beautiful. So I guess he almost looks like a cartoon because of how beautiful he looks. But obviously I'm biased because that's my dog, that's my family, right? But beside that, let's keep going. With respect to Cardano, up about 5.46%, Solana up about 4%, XRP up about 4% respectively, polkadot's up about 2.67%, Algorand seems like it's just trading on a sideways fashion. With respect to the equity side, it seems like we're surging on a pre-market as well, up about 0.14% respectively for SPY and NASDAQ. So with respect to the news, let's dive into Ethereum specific news. The first one's on Decrypt about 14 minutes ago. Talk about Nifty Gateway expands beyond curated drops as Ethereum NFT aggregators. So it seems like there are more commercialization activities around this specific one called the Nifty Gateway, right? And this seems like there are some NFT related type of artwork that I see in this article. I see one that has like it looks like a coin on the back of a matador, a bull, obviously, and then I see some like Halloween related type of NFT as well. It seems like with respect to this marketplace, they do sell a lot of interesting artwork. So if you are an arts enthusiast or a connoisseur, feel free to check it out to see what they are offering, or potentially investing, knowing the fact that we are experiencing this relatively interesting hype of this commercialization of NFT. The next one is talk about Fortune magazine about 4 hours ago, talk about crypto bull rise, the Shiba Inu rally to new highs as Bitcoin rebounds and stocks stall. So with respect to that, it seemed obviously Shiba Inu rally yesterday, we saw that it was surging up to like 70%, 80% at one point. Seems like it's normalizing right now, down about 1.20%. But despite all of that, we're still up so much, in comparisons to weeks ago, right? And with respect to some of the verbiage that we see here, is talk about just like the technical analysis on what is the logical resistance levels for Shiba Inu and with respect to Bitcoin and Ethereum respectively, which for Shiba Inu, frankly speaking, there isn't any substantive resistance level at the moment right now, which is basically Marsing. We're not even mooning. We just we go way above the planetary system, right? So I think that's something that we can dive into on technical front a little bit. So on the next one on Decrypt 5 hours ago, talk about Wharton Business School, which is the University of Pennsylvania, is officially accepting tuition payment in Bitcoin and Ethereum. So it seems like with respect to university system, which Wharton School of Pennsylvania, University of Pennsylvania, is known for their finance program, And it's not surprising to me, for them to initialize their, the tuition acceptance for cryptocurrencies, right? And with Wharton's stamp of approval, I do foresee other Ivy League schools, including, like Harvard, Princeton, Yale, et cetera, even the non-Ivy schools like Stanford, and other schools subsequently, the more of the states by state school, to be accepting crypto going forward. And with that affectation, that could technically translate into more surge across the spectrum, specifically for Bitcoin and Ethereum. So this is a relatively good news, I would say, in terms of a macro dynamics perspective. So next one's on Bazinga 12 hours ago, talk about Bitcoin, Ethereum falls below key levels. Dogecoin gets flipped by the unstoppable Shiba Inu. DeFi's coin regains luster. So this article is talking more about with respect to the technicals, so we can dive into a little bit. The next one is talk about with respect to Grayscale on 16 hours ago with respect to levels. Expect the SEC to approve a spot Bitcoin ETF by July 2022. So David Lavelle is the global head of ETFs on Grayscale Investment. He said on a media front recently that he expects that SEC to be initializing this approval going forward. So which technically would translate into more buying pressure going forward. So another bullish news, if you may. That's we appreciate if we are long-term investors. And they said it's by July 2022. So technically we still have like some time left. Basically like 9 months out from here. The next one's talk about with respect to MarketWatch about 6 hours ago. The world's richest 29-year-old say biggest risk to crypto is a cascade combining a big crash liquidation. So this is talking about with respect to Sam Bankman-Fried, which is the co-founder and CEO of FTX, right? One of the richest 29-year-old. He talks a lot about with respect to some of the negative foreshadows. So it's an interesting article, interesting video with his depictions, and I think I value a lot what he says, and I think there's a lot of substance to it, and I believe and I understand a lot of what he's saying, but on a high level synopsis, basically he foresees some sort of a liquidation event or some sort of a correction, which makes sense, right? Because we've been stretching up like relatively significantly recently, and for us to continue the rally, we need to correct on the overall macro level for us to further sustain the rally going forward, for Bitcoin to hit above 6 digits, for Ethereum to hit above 5 digits, right? And he foresees some of the catalysts would be including with respect to the upcoming FOMC meeting that we'll be hearing from Jerome Powell on basically in November coming up, so we're like basically weeks away. And with respect to the technicals, right, we've been so stretched up. There's a huge imbalance in supply and demand dynamics right now that a liquidation event among institutional investors sometimes soon, like in Q4 or early in Q1, would be logical based on what Sam Bankman-Fried has said in this article and the video. So feel free to take a look and watch it. This is quite interesting. The next one is anonymous crypto wallet moves $580 million worth of Ethereum for fees of $33. That's pretty crazy. I know like on Coinbase when I'm transacting or buying or selling or exchanging, there's always a huge fee. So it seems like there's some loophole around it based on this article says here, with respect to the 580 million worth of Ethereum. If you translate that into commission fees just based on using like Binance or like with respect to Coinbase, right, the transaction fees is a lot more significant than just $33, right, just on a percentile perspective, right? So seems like there is some loophole that these wealthy people are able to get around with their tax advisors or with their accountants, if you may. All right, so that's pretty much on the news front. So let's just dive right into the technical, shall we? So with respect to the current level right now, Ethereum is not really doing much because the Ethereum surging activity is not really doing much because of Ethereum by itself. Obviously, there's some positive news, right? Because of the positive acceptance or the approval from the educational system in the U.S., right? With Wharton Business School accepting Bitcoin, Ethereum as a form of tuition going forward, and other positive news with respect to the NFT commercialization front. It seems like also with respect to the rebound of Bitcoin is the key reason or the catalyst of dragging the whole market to go up, right? We see that we were testing the 3,845 yesterday, right? We could see that we have that mini red candle here and immediately got bought back up. And right now we basically, forming a very strange pattern right now. We're basically fusing the two lines together. And we still overbought at the 62 out of 70. So this is going to be relatively short-lived, and I think we just got bought back up to be above 4,000 because of mainly public investors. So there's an imbalance in the ecosystem that we're seeing in the supply and demand dynamics right now, mainly being dragged up by Bitcoin again, right? So with respect to Bitcoin, let's take a look at it right now. We are still forming, we're still within the negative territory. There's no signs of reversing yet, despite some surge that we're seeing right now. We are still struggling above the $60,000 mark, right? You could see that we opened below at 58. But as that news broke out, right, we see that, the positive news that I've been collecting so far this morning, we are seeing some sort of reversal. But, is this sustainable? I would say with respect to the current level, we're still at, at the overbought level at the 60 out of 70. So we have to watch, because the above level is lack of substance right now, right? We're basically testing around the 60K because it's the flat number, and people psychologically buy to hold it tight because of lack of activities among public investors and institutional investors, right? So contingent on no specific catalyst that's coming up this weekend, knowing the fact that tomorrow's Friday and the weekend affectation potentially, if there's no positive or negative news, we could technically cool back down to be basically hovering around the level below, right? To go back ideally to the 52, to the 48, right? Because right now this is way dragged up and there is a lack of substance around the level that we're at right now. So with respect to Dogecoin, we are up dramatically right now. We are at the 66 out of 70. Right now, this is basically being pumped by institutional investors, but also public investors FOMOing in. And you could see that we got to at one point at almost all-time high at the 33.37, which was the technical peak, right? And then you could see that immediately got sold down because of lack of substance here. And basically right now we are matching with respect to the red candle we've seen here before at the 30, right? The 30 cents is basically a substantive flat number. But in terms of like what's a more logical level, right? I think with respect to the more risk-averse level would be the 21 and then the 20 cents level respectively. Cardano is still dragging right now. It's being basically brought up because of the drag effect from the main coins. Right now sustaining above $2, but at the real dip, right, was basically at the 187, 182, which was the lowest. Right now we are at an okay level at 41 out of 70. So not a bad level to incur some risk right now, and I think we formed a def cross recently, which translates into this red candle right here. And I think right now it's not a bad buy, but I think maybe wait until if we do not sustain the $2 and crack below. I think as we crack below, going to like the 187 would be a better dip for us. Solana right now is slowly fusing together. You can see that def cross is imminent coming. 61 out of 70, and I think ideally by the 156. Once I would say a better level would be somewhere around like the 130 to 113. 91 to 66 would be logical, but we have to see how dramatic we can be selling off, right? Because the current level is not really sustainable. The more sustainable level would be somewhere around like the 113 to be more specific. XRP right now at the 47 out of 70, right? You could see that we have bought back up because of the whole drag effect from the overall market, not because specifically for XRP. So right now we are basically hovering on a sideways fashion, being just basically levitating. There isn't anything of substance around where we're at right now, so we have to wait until the 101, which was technically the dip, or 93. That was the dip from yesterday, right? Polkadot right now we are up about 2.52%. We formed a def cross recently, so ideally coming back down to 31 to 25 would be a much better level. Algorand right now we're at the 52 out of 70. We're forming a whale back, so ideally by the 160 to 155 would be much better levels. Shiba Inu seems like it's still sustaining. We are still very dragged up. You could see how extremely overbought we are with the 90 out of 70, basically. There's no signs of really reversing yet, right? You could see that we're still extremely curved up. There's no apex yet. So Shiba Inu, we could technically still sustain more bullish momentum, knowing the fact that the overall market is still bullish. So despite the sell-off, is because obviously we've surged up so much, so people are strategically and logically taking some profit. But we are in like new unknown territory at the moment, right? There's no resistance, no consolidation zone that we at right now. We just leaping up and away and basically chased by money at the moment. So the risk is all time high. There are a lot of billionaires and millionaires in this equation at the moment. So if one of them decide to sell, we could be, heading for a relatively bloody day coming because this is a relatively large gap. So would I be advising buying now? I would no. I would say no because this risk is not in your favor at the moment, despite like how bullish it looks like so far, right? So definitely be cautious and remind yourself like logically and not buy on emotions, despite how bullish it looks like, it feels like. Okay. So respect to market cycle, this is very confusing because different coins have different market cycle, but ultimately again, right, for us to keep going all time high, per what we've seen in the Bank Salmon Fries article and the video, we need to go through the anger and depression stage first and respect to the price level in a more of a logical perspective, right? And just zoom in for you guys. These are the more logical levels as the RSI depletes back to below 35 as we form that preliminary golden cross on these respective coins. These are the levels that I personally feel more risk averse to be buying at, right? So feel free to take a picture, feel free to use this as a reference as your snapshot if you may. So yeah, so really appreciate you for your guidance and your friendship every single day. And let me know if you have any specific questions. Happy to give you any insights on accordingly and timely if you may. But really appreciate you and stay tuned for us to come up. Take care. Bye.